Some government officials just love the chaos and destruction that they create. All of this is now the governor of California is suing Donald Trump and the federal government for effectively stopping the riots and vandalism happening right now in Los Angeles. All of this as now there are protests spreading all throughout the United States. And the situation looks very interesting as, of course, the Marines and National Guard have been called up as there might be some bigger federal action here, not just to deal with the Californian state, but to the organizations and groups that are putting this, quote, resistance together, as we have a congresswoman coming out and saying some very interesting things about why and who is making these protests happening. There's a lot of weird, peculiar things happening here that we, of course, are going to be documenting and talking about in this particular video, as the situation in California definitely is a very fascinating one to look at, as it looks like this will be the example of stopping Donald Trump from being able to implement his agenda. Will it work? How will things transpire? Well, that's exactly what we are going to be talking about here, as, of course, we predicted a lot of this, and we told you almost a year ago. Expect some major summer of love type of riot situations unfolding in the United States for this particular year. And that's exactly what we're getting. If you appreciate our hindsight and our ability to call things before they actually kind of happen, subscribe, click the notification button, as of course there's a lot to get into that we're going to be doing in this video and many other ones. As of course the reports are now coming in that the Marines are on their way, as LA has turned into, quote, a war zone, leaving a, quote, lawless hellscape, as many people expect these riots to continue almost every single night. As now, the FBI, the federal government, is definitely treating this very seriously. Unlike their type of reaction to the BLM Summer of Love riots that burned down millions of dollars of private property and took the lives of 36 plus individuals. Now, the FBI just announced that they have raided the home of the protesters who threw rocks at federal agents and their cars, as Pam Bondi has released information about this arrest here, declaring this, of course, on Fox News.
Identified, and they are doing a search warrant on his house as we speak. And he has been identified. See his face. He is going to be on, his name is Reyes. He is going to be on the most wanted list. You have broken the news. His face is out there right now. That's him. He has been identified by great police work by the FBI. So you can run. You can't hide. We are coming after you federally.
As this man is probably going to be dealing with some very serious charges here, as the reports that we're getting in right now is that with the National Guard, with DHS in the streets helping out the LAPD, multiple people are reporting that the feds are a lot more serious and aggressive than local law enforcement when it comes to stopping some of the vandals, some of the people that have been assaulting officers and creating property destruction. While, of course, we have to understand that LA is just one battleground here. As in the making of this video, we are getting reports that these protests are also going on in Austin, in Dallas, in New York City. There was people creating civil acts of disobedience by sitting down inside of Trump Tower and working out a situation where they were arrested for this PR stunt in an act that, of course, didn't lead to any kind of particular violence. As there are more protests expected to happen, as Waymo just announced that they are limiting their services in San Francisco, as they expect the protests there to also expand and devolve into violence, as in Los Angeles. A lot of the Waymos were destroyed by the rioters and protests, as the California Attorney General now announced that with the feds taking this seriously, that they're suing the feds and saying, hey, you can't do this. You can't deploy the National Guard, as their police officers failed to stop the riots, failed to stop people burning fields and cars on fire in Los Angeles, as the corporate media here has been regurgitating these old, archaic talking points of, no, these protests are super peaceful. Elon Musk tweeted this saying the difference between reality and the legacy media is insane. As they clearly are saying, no, there's no property destruction here. There's no violence here. What are you talking? You're a crazy conspiracy theorist. What? You believe the evidence in front of your own eyes? What? You crazy. You're supposed to believe us.
The LA County Police say that they have it under control. Carrying a flag is not illegal, as you know. What did happen in 1992 was so different from what we're seeing now. I mean, that was a real riot.
It's video.
Oh yeah, it's not a real riot. Yeah, that's a fake one. It's an engineered one by the MAGA Republicans. Those MAGA right wingers. Oh, they're just making stuff up.
Video has shown that these agents are the ones provoking protesters and also making up, aggression by these protesters that later video shows people were not aggressive.
Yeah, it's all the cops' faults. They were there. They provoked people. Again, the delusion in the mainstream media continues before talking about that and a lot more. We wanted to tell you about wearechange.shop, one of the best shops out there. We got a lot of great, amazing products available for you guys. And one of the ones that I just took recently is, of course, magnesium glycinate. Lots of people are very deficient in magnesium, but if you're looking to increase and promote your athletic performance, looking to get the best rest and recovery, looking for the best, healthiest nervous system that you could have, since a lot of people's are fried, a lot of liberals, a lot of leftists, statistically more unhealthy than right-wingers. That's why there's a bigger correlation with mental instability and more actions that are prone to, of course, less impulse control. All right, let's just be honest. There's other things to talk about with that, but I won't get there. I won't do that. I'll just tell you that, look, a lot of people are freaking out. A lot of people are lost. A lot of people are losing their mind, especially on social media. Best way to get it back is through, of course, trying to do it naturally. Proper diet, proper sleep. Lots of people are having difficulties doing that since they are missing a lot of the nutrients and minerals that used to be in their food that no longer are in there. And one of the most essential ones is magnesium. So many people are deficient in it. So many people report feeling so much better, getting so much better of a night's sleep, feeling so much more recovered through magnesium. I like magnesium. I use it. I just had some with my last meal of the day here. And my sleep score is amazing. My sleep score today, I'll tell you what it is right now. I got 8 hours and 27 minutes, 12 minutes of sleep. Look at that, 87. I don't know if you can see that. 87 out of 100. That's a pretty gosh darn good sleep score. And I wish you the best sleep, because sleep is almost the most vitally, almost critically important thing that you could do for your body. People who don't sleep are akin to people who receive brain damage. Seriously, sleep is so important. If you're not getting a good night's sleep, do some research. Try to make sure that you are sleeping as best as you possibly can. Now, let's continue on with this kind of Orwellian double speak from the corporate media that's telling you these aren't riots. The cops that are being violent here. Listen, I covered a lot of this, and there are instances where the cops kind of overreact, or they kind of like hit somebody when they're not supposed to hit somebody. But let's be real with ourselves here, okay? A lot of the people running around, screaming, being violent, throwing stuff, it's pretty clear here that the majority of the violence that I'm seeing is predominantly coming from the protesters. Some violence coming from the cops. Let's just be honest with ourselves. Overwhelming amount of violence coming from the protesters.
Having an administration that's targeting peaceful protests, people that are there to protest. The president is sending the National Guard because he doesn't like the scenes. He doesn't like the scenes of people peacefully protesting. Unrest.
I don't know there, Becky. Becky, I think you gotta wash your eyes out. All right, Becky. Do you not see the cars on fire? Do you not see the bricks being thrown? Do you not see the vandalism? Do you not see the fields being lit on fire? Do you not see independent reporters getting beat up or shoved around and aggressively attacked for addressing a lot of these issues and just trying to report on accurately what's going on there? Do you see any of that? They're real peaceful. Oh my God, yeah, they're real peaceful. You know. They're not. Let's just be real with ourselves. They're not, and they're impeding the federal government from implementing the federal agenda that the vast majority of Americans voted for.
West is isolated. LA is home to millions of people, most of whom are having a normal day here on Sunday.
You know, you've heard
Mr. Potato Head.
reports that there are riots on the streets of Los Angeles. That is not what's happening across the city of
They're mostly peaceful riots and fire. Yeah.
Los Angeles.
Governor Newsom's right. There wasn't anything like a riot happening on Friday, Saturday.
We just
Don't worry about it.
witnessed a protester thanking a National Guardsman for his service here in California.
LA.
The thank you was written on a brick. Thank you.
APD, by most estimates, had this under control last night.
No, I don't think the National Guard is needed now. Things in LA are calm. There was a protest that got a little unruly late at night.
Yeah, really. They're burning a bunch of cars. They're pulling off some steam. It's those cops that made it worse. How dare they not allow people to burn private property? Huh? How dare they? Huh?
There's no violence where anybody that was protesting hit anybody, shot anybody, threatened anybody. Nothing has happened.
Nothing has happened. There's no violence here. Nuh-uh. What are you, Ray Charles? Frick's sakes.
What is just a bunch of people having fun watching cars burn.
Yeah, they're just having fun. Look at that. They're having, look, they have s'mores. They have s'mores. Look, they're just having fun. They're blowing up something. What are you talking about? You crazy?
Most of those demonstrators were very peaceful. They were chanting. They were shouting. People were driving by.
Also peaceful. Also peaceful. Mm-hmm. And that's good. It looks like Trump is taking this situation seriously. Some of the stuff I disagree with. I disagree with the calls for you can't wear masks. You can't just federally decree that stuff. We need some kind of anonymity, and I get it, and I get the argument, but still, I would run. I do not like the calls for Palantir being involved here. I think you could have a level-handed approach here to deal with the actual people that are committed violence here, and you don't have to have the boot stomping on the neck of anyone who expresses any kind of political ideas that the government doesn't like. There's a fine line here, and I think so far, even though Trump has decreed no masks, there's no way to implement that. I think sending in the National Guard and giving local law enforcement enforcement to do their job is the right thing to do. And if people are being violent, burning stuff and throwing bricks and vandalizing and trying to light fields on fire like they have, like I saw. You bring in the National Guard and like, stop it. Hey, that's not cool here. As now hundreds of Marines are mobilizing. We saw military equipment. And now the governor of California is not happy about this. You know why? Because he doesn't want these federal mandates. He doesn't want the federal ICE raids to continue. And he knows that the protests could stop them. He doesn't want the protests to stop. He wants the protests to expand and continue. And that's why he just announced, we are suing Donald Trump. This is a manufactured crisis. Mofo, by you guys. Yeah. He is creating fear and terror to take over a state militia and violate the U.S. Constitution. You lost control of the situation because you wanted to. Let's just be real. You wanted to lose control. You wanted these ICE raids to stop. You wanted the federal government not to be able to do what it wanted to do. You want to have more congressional representation through the census. The illegals ordered he signed could allow him to send the military into any state he wishes. He's making sure that his orders are being followed. Every governor, red or blue, should reject this outrageous overreach. There's a lot of hyperbole out there. This isn't that. This is an unmistakable step forward towards authoritarianism. This is the same guy that, by the way, said, "Oh, you're a private business. You're trying to keep your private business open." Yeah, jail. I am the declarer that decrees you must close down. My friends, the restaurants I go to will be open during the coof. Everybody else, you're trying to walk on the beach by yourself. Jail. All right, this is the tyrant that created tremendous amounts of human suffering during the coup years. And now he's the one lecturing us about authoritarianism when he abused his position of power to the fullest extent that he could, abusing it for political purposes. Yeah, okay. Very rich there. Very rich. And the responses here are pretty telling. Some of them are a little bit too adult in nature. But even as the LA Times report, downtown LA hit by widespread vandalism, damage as city struggles to claim unrest. Donald Trump is making sure that situation is handled, and Gavin is suing him because he doesn't want that to happen. The mayor there, another communist, is like, hey, we want to make sure the federal government doesn't have ICE raids. If they stop the ICE raids, we're going to stop the protest. That's essentially what he's saying. This is an extortion attempt here.
We need to stop the raids. This should not be happening in our city. It is not warranted, and the only thing it does is contribute to chaos. This was chaos that was started at Washington, D.C. On Thursday, the city was peaceful. On Friday, it was not, because of the intervention of the federal.
Yeah, they made me beat up that woman. Yeah, that woman was asking for it. She was wearing a short skirt, is essentially what you're saying. That's literally what you're saying. Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna says, we have a commie behind the LA riots using Hispanics as props. Don't fall for it, America. She released a video talking about who she believes is behind these protests. This is an important one. I'm going to play it.
Just found a really great deep dive here from the Data Republican on X. So who is behind all these crazy riots in LA and that will be across the nation? Just like, remember, in the Summer of Love with BLM, remember who's organizing all that stuff. With this specifically is being funded by an individual by the name of Neville Singham, who actually made his money by pushing communist Chinese propaganda, became a billionaire doing it. He's now funding, and the guy behind all of these protests was also behind and tied to the protests at Columbia University, pushing all of that BS, if you don't remember. And then also, too, if you actually look at the social organization that's putting out these flyers, it's the Party for Socialism and Liberation, which is, and I kid you not, the actual Communist Party. So they're using Hispanics, they're using illegal immigrants, they're trying to hype people up thinking that they care, but they don't care. They would stop illegal immigration. Obama deported people. Why all of a sudden now?
Obama deported way more people than Donald Trump has deported, especially so far. And now we have to understand, hey, there's a reason why all of this is unfolding the way it is right now. As now we're also getting reports of a truckload of bionic face shields that are being delivered to, quote, grassroots organizations. And there are usually some people that are, doing this naturally. But let's just be honest with ourselves. This is very politically convenient for the Democrats that want to keep their congressional representation high for the Democrats in Congress. This is a way for them to illegally get power in a system that they rigged for their own personal benefit. And this is why the raids matter. The ICE raids matter because once you get rid of those illegals from the sanctuary cities, that of course make sure that they are incentivized to come in, their congressional representation goes down. And therefore, we have a lot less liberal Democrats as members of Congress. And we will have more of a balance that is more representative of American citizens. That's why these raids are important, as well as reversing Joe Biden's agenda that allowed an estimated 20 million people to walk into the United States here. As even the LAPD chief came out and said that a lot of these violent rioters are not locals. They're connected to other organizations and other groups that aren't even from the local area that are burning down the local area.
But when I look at the people who are out there doing the violence, that's not the people that we see during the day who are legitimately out there exercising their First Amendment rights and to be able to express their feelings about the immigration enforcement issue. These are people who are all hooded up. They've got a hoodie on. They've got face masks on. They're people who do this all the time, get away with whatever they can, go out there, from one civil unrest situation to another, using the same or similar tactics frequently. and they are connected. Some would call them anarchists or by any other variety of names, but they're people that we run across routinely city to city, and this is what they do. So even more disgusting that many of the people who are doing this come in from other places just to hurt people and to cause havoc.
Now, who are these people? Well, there's a lot of professional activists, professional agitators. Is this natural? Is this organic? I think there's a hint of a combination of both here. Now, it is politically advantageous for a lot of these people to have these freak out moments like they're having right now, to have these type of big, huge debacles. The fact that Donald Trump is being sued for trying to stop the riots, for trying to, of course, unwind back a lot of the nonsense that was forced on us by the Democratic political party, really is just absolutely kind of crazy. If you agree, share this video. If you know a crazy person in your life, tell them, hey, they might want to consider magnesium glycinate, and they might want to get it on wearechange.shop. We got a lot of great videos available for you. Do your own research before putting anything into your own body. And again, magnesium, so important for you. So many people are just not getting it, clearly, especially in LA. I love you guys. I want to be here if it wasn't for you watching and subscribing. Stay tuned for more, all here exclusively on youtube.com/wearechange.